Now we're going to look at the fibre optics. This is a Switch4 fibre optic light source. It's got its own inbuilt controller, and I do have some weird looking fibre optics here. These are called bamboo fibre optics, but they're just the same as any other fibre optics, because what we want to do today is concentrate on what is on this controller. First things first, plug it in. And when the power goes to the light source, you should see it comes up with something like this. It says program 1 passive, and then it says timer 10 seconds. In other words, what's going to happen is these colours will change every 10 seconds. Watch. There it goes, onto the red, and the fibre optics are red. Now, if we want to speed up the colour change in this one, which is program 1, timer 10 seconds, all we need to do is press the program button and the time will go down and the colour change speed will increase. So now I've told it to change colour every 2 seconds, so that's a whole lot quicker. Now, let's switch it off right there. And we're going to go from program 1 to program 2 by switching the up switch on the program button. Now it says program 2 step color off. To switch it on, you have to press the enter key, which is right there. Now it's switched on. And what it's really waiting for is a switch to be pressed. Now I can press one of these and it will step the colour along. Doesn't matter which one you press, it'll keep stepping the colour along as we go. However, this really starts to work well when we plug in a switch. So now I've got a yellow switch plugged in, and it's actually in the blue socket, but it doesn't really matter because when I press the switch, you will see the light will move along and the fibre optic will change its colour to whatever it steps onto next. So if I have the yellow switch in the yellow switch socket, it will still simply step along like that. Dead easy. Let's move on to the next mode by switching it off. See there? Enter. Press enter. Now program 2 step colour is off, and I'm going to press the program button up once and it says program 3 latched. It says off, so we need to switch it on right there, and let's plug in a switch. So now I've got a yellow switch plugged into the yellow switch socket. But again, it doesn't make any difference at all. But this is latched. So, latched is once for on and once for off. Once again, once for on and once for off. But notice how it's also stepping to the next colour each time I do this. So, blue, purple, red. But just like an ordinary latched mode on a switch system, you press the switch once to switch it on, and again to switch it off. Let's go from program 3 to program 4 by pressing enter and then the up arrow, and program 4 is momentary. Switch it on and let's have a look. This means when I press the switch and hold it down, the lights will stay on. If I let go of the switch, it switches them off. So press the switch, hold it down, it stays on, let go, it switches it off. And once again, this will scroll through the different colours on the controller itself. Now, in momentary or latched mode, if you wanted to go the colour that matches the switch, then you need to plug in another switch. So now with 2 switches plugged in, if I press the yellow switch, it goes yellow. If I press the blue switch, it goes blue. Program 5, switch that off and go to program 5, which is timed. I'll switch it on there and it says timer 2 seconds. Now, you may have watched a video before about this, but I'll explain it again very quickly. If you want to increase the amount of time the light stays on, you press the up arrow on the program button. If you want to decrease, you press it there. If you want it to go very, very quickly, keep your finger on that button. If you want it to decrease very, very quickly, keep your finger on that button. So let's just for us go to 3 seconds. So now when I press the switch, it will just work for 3 seconds. And if you want to test it, press the switch on the unit itself. There it's lit up, and it should switch off after 3 seconds. So now I'll press the switch and it'll stay on for 3 seconds and then switch off like that. So you can increase or decrease the time. And remember again, if you want the switch to match the colour, plug in 2 switches and it'll work. Let's go from program 5 timed by switching it off to number 6, colour mix, pigment, 4 switches. So we could plug in 4 switches into this, or we can plug in the keyboard, and I'm actually going to plug in the keyboard. But first of all, I'm going to switch it on. Now the keyboard needs to be plugged into the socket that says white. So now you can mix the colours by pressing the switches. If you press blue and red together, you'll make purple. If you press red and yellow, you'll get orange. So you can really play around and mix all your colours. Right, let's go from program 6, switch it off, and once up to program 7, 3 switches, colour mix. Now this is the RGB system, so there's just 3 colours going to work this time. So now with 3 switches plugged in, I can mix my colours as if we're mixing light. Blue and red will make purple. Red and green will make a kind of orangey yellow colour. So you can mix the colours together, and that's really good fun. Pressing the enter button and the program button will take you back to program number 1, where it will just light up and change colour in a passive mode.